Ooh, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, nerds and turds. Let's shoot a message to our friend Sam here, and so they can watch us get their pod fixed up. Alright. Yeah, so first up, I think this is Sam's HomePod. It's got no power. Let's plug this into some power and see what it's telling us. Yep, no power there. We're getting about 6 watts of draw at the wall, which tells us this is most likely the usual dead diode that we replace on the channel here. Let's crack this open, give it a new diode, give it some new filters, get it back together, and move on to the next one. Oh yeah, and yesterday we took our first look at a broken second-gen HomePod that was no longer powering on as well. With the assistance of our spare second-gen full of known good parts, we were able to quickly determine that it was the amplifier board of all components that was the cause of our no power issue, but that's about as far as we could get. Couldn't find any shorts, couldn't find anything heating up. Noticed that our step-down converter and Schottky diode weren't getting any power, but the Schottky was not shorted out like we typically see in the first gens. So that's what some of this other stuff over here is. That this is all actually second gen HomePod parts. But we got quite a few first gens that have been showing up the past few days that we got to catch up on before we can spend any more time looking at that second gen. That one will take a little bit of time for us to figure out. But for now, we're back in familiar territory, and we can cruise through these guys, make a few more happy HomePods in the world. Bit of rubbing alcohol, that'll help when we pry the top basket off that's glued down for no good reason. Subwoofer smells good, looks nice and straight. Okay, moving forward. Power supply. We'll put this over here still. Time to clean. My desk is a disaster. I'm apparently a disaster today. All right. We do have a 46K dated diode, so that's almost definitely the cause of their power issues. Let's do a little bit of maintenance first. All of the first gen HomePods are starting to hit like that 5 to 7 year old, around that age mark now. And that's about at least how old these ceramic capacitors are, if not older. And these capacitors, like all ceramic caps, naturally decay over time and lose their effectiveness, in this case at filtering the unwanted DC voltage that leads to death farts and other bass issues. So we used to only replace these filters if we fixed up a HomePod and they tested bad. However, as of the past yearish, I've started seeing more of these test fine and fail shortly after. So we're just preemptively replacing these filters as part of, every repair that comes through here if they still have the originals, considering their age. The last thing that I want, and if you've seen enough of my repair streams, you'll know the thing that I hate the most about HomePod repairs is getting the same HomePod back. So this is one of those things that we just got to do now in all the pods that pass through us now to keep yet another issue away. But all that said, you've got these filters that tend to go bad over time, and then you've got the nasty, crappy diode that they used in the first place, which when you replace the diode, you never have to worry about that particular power issue again. You just have to worry about, software issues getting the blinking volume buttons and your filters here expiring. But the replacements that we use should last at least as long as the originals, if not at least twice as long. Like that on the very low end. And by then, we're hoping to have a third-party solution where we can rip out all of the Apple guts and replace it with third-party stuff that gives us like Bluetooth and auxiliary in functionalities while retaining AirPlay 2. That's the kicker. That's the reason why we haven't been able to find anything yet. There's nothing that's small enough to fit inside the HomePod that offers everything that I would require to offer that as like a replacement, like an upgrade service. But when the time comes, I'm sure of it, there will come a time when there's an amplifier that will be able to power all the speakers and come with all the features I'm looking for, so we can finally ditch the OEM Apple guts and move on to something. Because the speakers inside of the HomePod itself are fantastic. It would be such a shame to throw the whole thing away just because the smart stuff in it sucks and becomes obsolete. No, I think we'll be able to find an aftermarket amplifier that we can drop in here. Completely ditch the Apple ecosystem while maintaining AirPlay functionality and gaining a whole bunch of new features. And it'll make it so much more repairable in the future too, Anybody will be able to just open it up and replace the amplifier if they need to, or look up how to repair it more easily than a proprietary part, such as but I'm just dreaming. That's my long-term goal. That's my medium longish term goal. Long-term goal is to make stuff. Just straight up make stuff. But we'll get there. So we're getting at that diode now. This is the part that actually failed and caused their no power issue. We'll get that replaced with a brand new beefy one, so that way we're sure it won't fail again. That's the only reason these ones are failing, is there is a certain 2 weeks that these were being made that they weren't being made very well. All of the other diodes we've seen inside of the HomePods that are either newer or even significantly older, we've never seen any diode outside of those 2 particular weeks failing. And it sucks because there's no correlation to the date code of the diode and the serial number of the HomePod. Not that there would be anyways, because there were only 2 production runs, both pretty much within series, and so yeah, whatever. I'm just rambling. Really, what Apple needs to do is either recall and refund people, and or replace these with updated designs that don't have parts that are known to fail, instead of selling customers refurbished ones on the promise that they are fixed, when in reality they are absolutely not, and I can guarantee it. We've had hundreds of refurbished first gens here, and they're all from the same production run as the originals. They didn't refurbish any of them, they just put them in different boxes. They don't repair any HomePods. they go straight to the dismantler for their raw materials to be recycled. It's just overall such a situation that could only be accurately described with many expletives. Anyways, let's get this thing put back together. Alright. Knock, knock. Who's next? We've got Steven. Let's find Steven. Here we go. No bass. Ooh.
I'm having trouble.
Beautiful. Alright. They are all fixed up. We'll leave that on overnight to test, of course, like we do with all of them. But let's move on now to Steven with no bass. No bass. No bass. No bass. Smells okay. Let's take a quick listen. A lot of the times with no bass, it's from, like we were talking about earlier, those DC filter caps going bad and letting too much DC voltage through the amp into the subwoofer, which roasts it and makes it smell extra stinky. Sometimes it permeates actually out through the seals and you can actually smell it, but
I'm having trouble.
not always. That does indeed sound like a tin can though, so let's crack it open and see what we do. We'll see what we're dealing with. Let's see if we've got a blown up subwoofer from bad filters, or if we've got some other issue on the amplifier and the subwoofer is actually just fine. Let's see. Ooh, it's been a minute since this hasn't had bass either. Oh, that was dusty. Alright, we can get a sneak peek at what our issue is here by just gently pushing on the subwoofer. It should feel nice and smooth and not like firm, sticky, and gritty. And it actually feels just fine. So I am led to believe that we've got something exclusively wrong with the amplifier, and our subwoofer speaker is just fine. Most likely a short, which I'm hopeful we can locate. But if not, we've got a few amplifier boards set aside that we can use. Okay. Yes, first look inside. And yeah, our bass speaker seems to be just fine. And on the top side, the amplifier looks okay. Let's get this turned down the rest of the way. Oh, there I do it again. I hate it. Gotta be careful if you drop these screws because they've got tiny little gaskets on them. You don't want to lose those. They are very important. Just kind of cleaning all the dust off stuff as I go along here. Alright. Looking at the back of our amp here, nothing is sticking out, so we're going to break out the multimeter and probe a few of our favorite spots. Hopefully, oh, I think I see something already. Right there, if you compare it to its neighbor, it's missing a little chunk off the top there. So I think I know what we're going to find already. I'm going to go ahead and double check here. Alright. So one of these two ICs likes to fail and pull this capacitor short and this capacitor short. Usually I have to replace this capacitor and the chip. But let's see. Yep, that's definitely shorted out. This one should still be good. Yep, that's ground, that's good. And then if we go over to this little guy, yeah, that's showing dead on both sides. So this is actually, I've seen this enough times that it's actually got its own common issue up on our website under the no bass section. This capacitor dies and needs to be replaced. It shows short. One of these two ICs dies and needs to be replaced, and this capacitor will show it's shorted, but it's actually still good. So let me pull up my website really quick so I can see what the specs of that capacitor are, because I don't actually remember off the top of my head. We'll go to nixfix.com, click on common issues, click on no bass, we'll scroll down. No bass, another short near amp IC. Oh shit, I didn't put any of the part numbers on here. I'm bad. Okay. That is perfectly okay. Because I got parts. Let's make sure the parts on this one are good. Yep, that looks okay. That looks okay. Alright. Let us extract some bits. And we'll go ahead and measure what the specs of this capacitor are so we can update that website. There we go. And let's get this bad boy. Or, they're actually good, I should say. Alright. You, my dear board, have been relegated to the parts pile. Here we go. Yeah, and before I do this, let's go ahead and measure this capacitor really quick. It's been a while since I've done it on this multimeter. I think this is the right way. No. You get back here. Let's see. I just want to know how big the cap is. Oh, does this one not do it? That's why I bought the other one. Shit. I don't know where that other one is. No! That's okay. That is alright. Alright, here we go. Let's I lost the cap, so I'm gonna pull another one off another spare board here, and we'll go ahead and replace those bits and see if that'll do it. Alright, now our little broken chip here. That came off real nice. And we'll do our best to line this up. Hey, that's pretty good. Alright, that is very much on there. Let's take a look at the date code on our diode, see if that's the one that tends to fail and cause no power. No, it is not. We've got a date code of 52K there, so we don't need to be concerned with that. The last thing we do need to take care of really quick before we can test this and send it back on its way are these filters. They didn't go bad and cause no bass this time, but they are still nonetheless the originals that are starting to age, and we don't want to do all this work and send this HomePod back to him just to have these filters fail within the next year or so and have to come back to us for death farts repairs. That is not something that I've learned a hell of a lot the past 2 years taking on these HomePod repairs. And one of those things that I learned that was rather surprising was the fact that ceramic capacitors like these just naturally decay over time and lose their effectiveness at filtering DC or removing DC voltage. Which, depending on the application, depending on what the capacitor is being used for, may or may not matter. But in this case in particular, especially when we're looking at millivolts of DC voltage, that can cause enough problems to blow up your amp or your subwoofer speaker. Every little bit, every little variation, and you know, all that matters. And you've got 4 of them in here, and somehow Apple designed them to be connected in such a way that any one of the 4 could start to go bad, and it will start to take the whole, it'll start to throw all of it off and cause issues. Beautiful. Almost. That one's a little, the bottom one's a little crooked. Let me straighten that out. Perfect. So with all that done, let's put this back together. Let's double check that our short that we were previously seeing is now gone. Yep. Our short is gone. So I have high hopes this is fixed now. I'm gonna go grab another beer. Okay. The suspense. Nice and sealed back up. This is why the glue on this basket doesn't matter, because at this point the whole speaker's already sealed up. Air isn't moving anywhere past any of these parts, so this being glued down makes no sense other than to keep people out. And again, look at the way they put the second gen together. None of it's glued together. And they used fewer screws. Computer's thinking hard. And
connecting to
Yes.
the internet.
Yes.
For more
Yes.
I'm happy.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, of course we got it fixed. We know what we're doing here. All right. Let's pull up Jose's HomePod. See what we're dealing with there. We've got a broken HomePod. Severe popping. And then after a while it won't turn on. Alright. Excuse me, I forgot I was streaming for a second there. Where are my manners? Okay. Ooh. We've got ourselves quite the collection of issues today. Let's see. Give me a second here, folks, to type up this email, and we will get started on Jose's HomePod here. Okay, sorry about that. Ah, that's right. They've already tried fixing this one. Let's see what we're dealing. Well, let's see. I don't know if I want to necessarily plug this in yet. We don't know what may have not. Let's see. Did they get all the way inside? Nah, I don't want to plug it in. All right. Let's clean this up. Looks like this fellow accidentally got between the two layers that we try to keep people out of. It happens. But that's okay. They did break off the little shiny chip on the display board. That's the ambient light sensor. Absolutely non-critical component. You can break it off and everything around it, and the HomePod will still work just fine. And the only thing you lose, of course, is the ambient brightness. So it'll just run that whenever the display is on, it'll just be at full brightness. It won't be more or less bright based on your environment, which to a lot of people they prefer. I actually, when we custom color HomePods on request, people ask us to dye their HomePods all the time. The colored top tends to shine less light through, so I will actually intentionally break the ambient light sensor off in order to force the full brightness and shine more color through the display. So we don't need to replace that display. And I'm sure they don't mind, since it'll work basically just fine, and it won't make their repair more expensive if we can reuse it. Alright, we want to carefully inspect everything else along the way, make sure they didn't break anything. It all looks pretty good. Alright, and it would appear this is probably about as far as they got. They got these off, they probably got the screws off, and then they may have tried prying this basket up and stopped there, but let's see. Oh no, they got the basket off. Okay. Let's carry on. And it looks like they went all the way in there. Oh, I see some stuff already. I see some stuff. Subwoofer seems to be in great shape, no concerns there. There we go. Let's make sure all of these gaskets are still there. Ah ha ha. Ah ha ha ha. See? See, we're missing a gasket on this one. That could have been a big problem down the road. Let's see, do I have... Here we go. See, this is the gasket I'm talking about. This teeny tiny little O-ring. Goes onto the screw, and that's what keeps this layer sealed. Let's make sure all the other ones have one. This one's missing one. That's it. Okay. I'm glad I checked that. That was a complete whim. Okay. Yeah, that will absolutely not seal up without gaskets on every single one of those screws, and it'll make a whistling sound or like a flapping sound. I see the gasket in there. It's chilling right there. Do you see that? That little black circle on the amp right there? There it is. Nice. Haha. Okay, let's get this amplifier out. See what they've done to it. Hold on. I'm gonna have to look back at the playback, but I just remembered pulling this connector out of the amp, but I don't remember unlocking that connector. I wonder if they put that in wrong. I'll have to double check the playback there. But that would definitely cause problems too. Alright, so up close, it looks like they replaced their Schottky diode. It's got a date code of 2144K, so we don't need to worry about that. However, they are missing their capacitor right here. I think that's a 0.1 microfarad. I've got a bunch of those, so we'll replace that. This looks okay. Does it? Yeah. Looking around all of the screw holes, people tend to be sloppy with the screwdriver and break components off nearby. But everything here looks good. I mean, I will straight up admit to slipping the screwdriver myself a few times and breaking things off the board, but we gotta check it. Alright. And it looks like they still have original filters on the bottom here. So let's start off with replacing their filters here, and then we will touch up this Schottky diode and replace that missing capacitor there, and then we'll get this put back together. That should be it. The sweet smell of lead. Alright, this is getting a little unwieldy. Let's trim this. Goodbye. 4 fresh caps. Come on, buddy. Alright, just had to make those nice and straight. Make sure they weren't touching each other or anything else. That's great. Alright, let's replace that missing capacitor. We'll touch up this diode to make sure it's nice and really on there. Just gonna juice the juice. Flow the flux, bro. There it goes, it just pops right into place. That diode's nice and on there. Alright. Let's get this thing back together and see how it sounds. We'll of course have to leave it overnight to be absolutely positive it's fixed, but we can have pretty much all but 100% certainty based on how it behaves and sounds when we first power it up here. Yes, just for reference, that is a properly locked connector. That is unlocked. So that is how you remove it, and that's how you want to leave it when you put things back together. I've got reference photos on my website for people too. Alright, I think you guys have had enough up close. Something's not adding up here. There's 4 people that are still watching and only 3 likes. Okay, does this still make a seal? Yes, it does. Ah, we're missing the locking connector for our display here. I wonder if I can try that off of another display. It appears that I can. Oh boy. Alright, let me see an example here. So you got those going this way. And it's on the edge. So we should be able to You will not defeat me. No. Maybe you will. It'll probably work fine without it, but I would really like to have it. Oh, it's gone. Alright, screw it. We'll tape it on. Whatever keeps the repair cheap and functional for him. If we can help it. That'll do. That's assuming that this display even works. What do you guys think? Do we have a fully functional HomePod again? Or are we foobarred? Here we go. Ooh, nothing from that display. That's annoying. And this is also not the same symptoms that they were describing originally. Let's try another display. Because originally they had it would still turn on, but it would have stopped turning on. But now it's just not turning on at all. Granted, we didn't check before doing any repairs. It was not in a condition to test. So let's get this off. Let's get another display on. That sucks. Alright, well this is going to need some more work, and unfortunately we are all out of time. So alright, well there's one more thing I want to try. I want to try a different logic board. Yeah, nope, we've definitely still got an issue somewhere on that amplifier, or maybe the power supply. So, subscribe to catch the next live stream where we crack this back open and figure that out. We've still got more that are waiting to get fixed up too after this, so never ending. Hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair, and I'll catch you in the next one.